It's a new week, new week, new week. Here we go, here we go. Hey. I'm gonna let it breathe because we actually gonna talk about some stuff today. I'm gonna just cut it cause I don't want y'all to get too soft. I don't want y'all to get too comfortable. Like, oh yeah, that's a good vibe. It's a good vibe. It is a good vibe. Yes, it is a good vibe. But guess what?
Indeed.
Today, you hear where you at? Where you at? You know where you at? The Mad Lucrative Podcast, where we talk about music, money, and what else? Life.
Nice.
So, I'm too hyped right now. I'm gonna let y'all know. Just let y'all know ahead of time. I'm hyped. So today in the studio, we got, I'm gonna just say Rahim because he changed his last name like 30 times. So, from Trey Fo, Rahim.
The Trizzy! And that is actually not factual.
It is very factual.
I probably changed my name 20 times with it now. I probably changed my name twice.
So what's the last name?
What do you mean? Like the government last name?
No, just what last name are you going by right now? Is it your government?
Yeah. Well,
no, it's not.
Well, no. Oh, you mean on social media?
On social media.
On social media, one of them is my Ghanaian name is Rahim Kwaku.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, it's my middle name, Rahim K-Sean.
Okay.
And then that's two. That's all I got.
I have one.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm lying. I do.
Right.
I got
right.
Michael Crawford. And
right.
I got 7. So
right. So calm down.
But I always go by those 3.
But I've also changed my name from Congo Adamfopa to
what?
Congo Adamfopa. That was one of my names that I had.
What does that mean?
It means a good friend of the Congo, because I was doing work with this organization that did social justice and like awareness work around the atrocities that are going on in the Congo. Like people don't know that like millions of people have died since 1998. Like millions of people.
Since then?
Since 1998. Yeah, it's even like even today, like a lot of the political unrest is like underwritten by the U.S. and these like multinational like corporations and companies that are going in and destabilizing it so that they can get resources for cheap, or they can create regimes that will legally give them the rights to land and all of that shit. So it's been like a huge thing. And so at the time when I was doing work with that organization, I used the name Congo Adamfopa.
So well, I just want you to know that you just further proved my point.
I did. That's why I brought that into conversation, because I was helping you out, bro. Because I was like, you don't really have a point, but I was like, you know what? People out in TV, like, he does kind of have a point. So I actually brought that up to give you a point.
Okay.
So you should thank me.
Okay, I'll thank you.
You're welcome, friend.
Next year.
And I have a new name next year. So you probably won't be thinking Rahim.
Okay.
You'll be thinking somebody else, but we'll get to that when we get there.
Okay, but anyway, that's Rahim. Give him the social media.
So Rahim K-Sean is the social media. That's the work. That's the one that I do the work, the healing work with. Okay. Rahim K-Sean.
And that's gonna be right here. Y'all gonna see that right there on the screen.
Yeah, Rahim K-Sean, RAHEEM KASHON.
There it is.
Yes.
There it is. And guess what? Y'all already know who I am. Mr. Loudmouth, Mr. Mad Lucrative.
Love it.
It's Magneto 7 in the... I wish I had a bomb. But this episode of Mad Lucrative is an episode that's dear to me, right? I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of the times I've seen where us creatives and me and Rahim, he call me on my shit all the time. But us creatives don't really know how to cultivate relationships and we really get entangled into ourself and trying to become the next whatever it is for yourself.
Right.
That is a place. It's a place for that.
Yeah, it's a place for that.
Because this dude right here. But I really wanted us to just kind of dig in on developing relationships and then just kind of see where it goes. Because I think that's very necessary, especially fresh off of the pandemic.
Okay.
Where it was super social distancing.
Yes.
Don't come give me no hug. Don't be in my space. If we gonna talk, it's gonna be social media. It's gonna be over a camera. Now that we're in, I guess, recovery mode.
I like that word.
I think it's necessary for us to kind of dig in on, okay, how does that look to redevelop those relationships?
Yeah. So like what we do physically to, I guess kind of cultivate relationships and how we think about relationships can be like, they feed each other, but they can be very different. When you talk about some of the conversations that we've had around like artistry and, for me, it sounds like it always goes to like a place of empowerment. Like how can we really be empowered to be the best, like, I guess, creative?
Okay.
Because I think that having a conversation around being a creative and having a conversation around being an artist are two different things, right? Artistry is the way that this culture has kind of codified the idea of being a creative, but creativity is the gift that God has given us, right? So we're creative by virtue that we're here, right?
Okay.
And all of us are creatives on a level. Like we're my belief is that we are parts of source energy. And we create. We have the ability to create. Even in the Bible, God said, "Let us make man in our image."
Right.
We have we have the capabilities to create. So all of that, I'll leave it right there. But we can get into a deeper conversation around my ideas of relating and how to like really be empowered in your gift as you relate to people, like how to really bring your energy back into yourself. And I'll explain more what I mean.
Yeah, I was about to say so okay.
Or if you want me to keep rambling, I can.
No, cause it's not rambling. It's not rambling. I think giving it a place. Cause you said artists first, right? I do, of course. This is all about artists,
right?
But I think we're in such a love and emotional deficit from, what's that, almost 2 years now.
Okay.
Of not getting those relationships kind of back in, I don't want to say back in place, because some of us had trash relationships before the pandemic.
Yeah, so right. So like the need like so I think that what you're talking about is like the needs for intimacy or right. So that's different. So that is a part of how we relate, right? Because, of course, we all have different needs for intimacy. We all have different needs for, like, let's say, physical intimacy. I'm a very touchy-feely person.
Right.
Some people aren't like that. Some people thrived in isolation because they didn't have to, because they may be more affected by people's energy. And, so they enjoy not having to perform a part of themselves or do the pleasantries of guess the everyday greetings and just be fake to people that they didn't like. So some people thrived, and so one thing that I think that we're having the conversation seems to also be involving our needs, what do we need, and then like you said, I guess you keep talking about how do we cultivate relationships. So it's so we're having a lot of different conversations, which is cool. But yeah,
right. Because I think, okay, I'll break me down, for instance.
Okay.
Right, and we've had some of that. Listen, again, you've helped me do the work. You coached me into that space.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So I'll put me on the chopping block.
Okay.
Y'all know I'm a producer. He's our Bilal. I'll put that out there. If you didn't know,
I'm so done. Oh.
Nah. But yo, okay, so I'll break down our friendship history, right? And then I'll fast track to where we are now. All right, so we grew up together. Was it high school or college?
Yeah, that was high school. It was honestly like, yeah, it was probably like 10th grade, 9th grade.
9th grade. Yeah. And we both kind of developed our sense of creative vibes, artist to producer.
Right.
And really start to thrive in that space.
Right.
And, friendship grew.
Right.
That's the bro.
Right.
Went to college at the damn fool.
Yes. We did. Indeed.
Then he adopted the name Rahim. Rahim. That's an inside joke.
That is an inside joke.
But I think what I've noticed is I've grown to respect his point of view as not just Rahim, not just a friend, but in your space.
Appreciate
like
that.
As far as is it counseling?
Well, yeah.
It is kind of?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Healing work, healer, counselor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've learned to respect where he is now for that. He's always kind of said whatever the hell came off the top of his head. That's just how he is.
That's how I am a little
bit.
I have candor. I have tact. I do. I don't have as much as most people probably.
No. You don't.
Okay, all right.
But let's just say you do.
Okay.
All right, for conversation.
Right.
Let's just say you do.
Right.
And, okay, so since then we've both kind of grew as adult men, grew in Georgia at that. Like, we're from Carolina. So, North Carolina, that's a whole discussion in itself.
Right.
But the freedom that you get when you come to Georgia, the enlightenment that you get as a black person that's able to do Tyler Perry type stuff.
Right.
Steve Harvey type stuff. I know y'all might not like Steve, but whatever. But seeing that in Georgia really does something to you, to your psyche. Like, it's like, oh no, back home, you can get a job at Reynolds.
Right.
And you winning. That's a win.
Right.
Down here, it's so many different things that you could do and win at.
Right.
So now, of course, I'm married, got the kids. This is the first. I've never been a parent before. I don't think. No. ain't no break babies out there. I promise.
Okay.
Ain't no break babies out there.
All right. Tread lightly. No.
But since then, we've kind of grown to be transparent on another level. And how did that conversation start? Where you like, you have to say, what was the main thing that stuck out? I can't remember what it was.
I just think that you were like, well, what I remember is that there was a sense of just like dissatisfaction. Like, I feel like that you are a huge being that felt limited by some of the, I guess, maybe labels and ways that people would like want you to show up, and like, but it was like you could show up in those ways, and those were like true parts of you, but they weren't all of you. Right. And I felt like that you felt like, well, I sense that you felt like that you weren't using your energy in the ways that you wanted to, and to the capacity that you knew that it could be used. Right. So then we just started to have a conversation, because I like kind of felt that, and I just started to speak into you, like, and yeah. It was that, but something that you checked me on. Okay. I think you're like, I didn't like the way you made me feel. I felt like you curved me in that. You remember that part? Oh yeah, I do remember. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was being honest about how I had experienced you as you grew into these parts of you that were again probably like parts of you that made sense in certain settings. So it's like, well, like I remember Mike as the friend, right? Mm-hmm. But then it was like also holding space for the fact that you do need to grow and you do need to evolve. And now, like you said, you're a family man. And so I don't need to have access to you in the ways that I had access to you in high school or whatever, college. but that there was a way that you were moving that was like,
You're like, bro, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro, you can't. Not exact words.
Okay.
It was probably some of that. It was hand to hand.
Okay. But yeah, I was just basically like really encouraging you to be able to move in those spaces and put on those masks, if you will, in those spaces when you need to. But like when it comes to people that you loved and you do love and you've loved for years, like you don't have to bring that. And you can be yourself.
Right.
You can be all of you here.
Right.
You can also be the producer. You can also be Magneto. You can also be the Grammy Award winner. But you can also be flawed. And you can also not have everything together. You can also just be, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt like that because of the way that this world is constructed, I think we're all socialized to externalize our sense of self-worth and knowing, right? To like a label, like, you know, like you said, we were talking about an artist or a producer.
Yeah.
And sometimes whenever we have a very wounded sense of self, or we didn't get our needs met as children, like we didn't really get poured into because our parents didn't really know how to pour into us, or like maybe they tried, but their love language and the things that they gave weren't really how we received love.
Right.
So like whatever our situation is, then it creates an equation to where like we can really cling to those things that society gives us to externalize our sense of self-worth too, right? So like, oh, I am Rahim the artist. And it's like, that's not appropriate in every space. I don't need to be Rahim the artist at my grandma's house in Thomasville, North Carolina.
Right.
It's not appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be Rahim, the grandson of Corrine, right? And if I'm not careful to really check the ways that I have attached my sense of self-worth to the things that the world has given me, then I can strangle relationships.
Right.
And make them unhealthy.
Right. And that.
All of that.
No, okay, I'll be transparent. That part of our conversation made me call out I gotta use my words.
Okay.
The insecure side of me that I never really wanted to address.
Right.
And I just write it off to, oh yeah, I'm a producer.
Right.
And disregard the other part of me that encouraged the guy at McDonald's that was just like, man, my girl, man, I got child support. I'm like, McDonald's. And gave him somewhat encouragement and a little bit of direction while waiting on fries.
Right.
I've always disregarded that part of me.
Okay.
From forever. I think probably until now.
Right.
But I've always felt like I have to be the music producer.
Right.
And stay there. Master being the music producer. Don't work on these all of these other parts of you that are available for people.
Right.
Don't work on that. Just be a producer.
Right.
And when you gave me that part of our conversation, I was like, okay, I got to do the work. Because for me, I've always been, I could turn it on and turn it off.
Right.
Easy.
Right.
Right? As far as entertaining and ha.
Right.
It's been easy. But the part of me that encourages, that cultivates, that coaches for business and all that stuff, just throw it away.
Right.
I was like, no. I'll get to him when I get 50.
And I think that goes back to your conversation around like relationships and relationship maintenance and the quality of relationships. They're really just a reflection of our relationship with ourselves, right? So like, again, if we didn't get our what they call narcissistic needs met, and it's just like, you know, narcissism and all that stuff gets thrown around very negatively and very loosely in pop culture, but narcissistic needs in the world of like psychology is just like these needs to feel powerful. To feel loved even beyond, you know, like we mess up, we don't feel like the people withhold love, we feel just powerful, we get poured into, is what we say in the church, right? And so that like having that cup full really sets you up to be able to move into different types of relationships and give different types of people what they need, but also hold boundaries and be respectful of what you need and not overgive, or because again that can get into like an insecurity. So like now I am the giver, or now I'm like I am the healer, right? And so like I'm doing and pouring, but I'm not pouring into myself, or I'm not getting what I need, which is it's imbalanced.
Right.
So at that point, I'm probably using this label of healer to do things and not to really look at and heal and do my work to really heal my relationship with myself. And so it's a circle, but it was like in that, because even like the jokey high energy part of you can be a part of you that you can use to shield yourself from feeling insecure, right?
Exactly.
And we all do that. We all have these parts of us that our psyche has created for us to shield us from certain types of pain, or from certain types of uncomfortable, experiences. So it can even be something as simple as being on the phone with somebody and then there's dead silence. Right?
I hate
I know. A lot of people do, because what happens is in that space of like just being silent with somebody, there's really a level of intimacy that's there, right?
Okay.
And if people have either been like traumatized on any level by intimacy, or it feels weird, or they've been taught that intimacy equals sexuality, or like all of these social messages that we get around intimacy, it can make it uncomfortable to just be with somebody and be silent, right? Even if you're not in the same space with them, like you're on the phone, right? Like when they're gonna reach through the phone and jump your balls or something, like it's like it's nothing gonna happen, but it's just a level of intimacy that's there that people do things. So so the point that I'm making is that people then do things to shield themselves. They may come up with something, they may laugh, they may come up with something stupid to say, they may whatever, right? And instead of just sitting with and being in silence with somebody. So what I'm saying to you is that we all do that. We all have these things that show up for us that shield us from insecurity. I just wanted you to be able to be with, and I guess as we're talking, I'm kind of remembering the conversation a little bit more, but I kind of wanted
me answer me, but we ain't gonna do that. It started with Samir.
It was a double portion.
And both of us like, all right, man. All right, bro. You got right, bro. Go ahead right now, bro.
Right. It was a double. He came there with a double whammy. It was a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
Special. But yeah, so yeah, we also like were able to deal with some of her relational, we won't get into it, but some of her relational trauma that bled into the way that she shows up in certain parts of her life. And what we find is that like it's all a result of trauma with relationship, right? As to I'm talking about in the context of like how we show up in our relationships, how well do we and are we capable of taking care of relationships? Like how well are we able to sit with being called out? Being somebody reflecting to you that they're not experiencing you in the way that you want them to experience you. Because we all want to be experienced in a positive way, right?
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be the liar. Who wants to be the manipulator? But we all do it, And so, but I think that people who have a really healthy sense of self can sit with the fact that, I was trying to manipulate you. And it doesn't have to tear the relationship apart for you to say that to me. Right. We can still be where we need to be, and I can just own that, and you can still love me, and we can move on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But people who have, again, like a wounded sense of self, or have an experience, like let's say they have an experience with the word manipulator where they used to get in trouble, or like it was really negative in their religion. They can't sit with being a manipulator because there's so many negative messages around that word that's a trigger that even when they are manipulating, they may hide it from themselves, or they may get defensive when people call them out, which strangles relationships, because again, it's about their relationship with themselves. Ultimately, they can't sit with feeling like they are a manipulator, right? So but if there was a healthier relationship that they have with themselves, where they know that like their worth is, and or like them being a manipulator doesn't make them unworthy of love, or doesn't somehow devalue them, right?
Exactly.
It's just that you're manipulating people in this moment, right? And you're still worthy of love, and you're still worthy of like all of the great and good things, all of the goodness that your heart can hold. But if you have received messages and these like indirect and direct messages all throughout your childhood that like manipulators aren't worthy of love, when you manipulate, Mama's gonna sit you in a corner, or she's not gonna give you love, or Daddy's not gonna talk to you, right?
Or God gonna strike you down.
God gonna strike you down. Yes, all of those messages, right? Yeah. So when you become an adult, you can't sit with the fact that that's actually a part of the way that you can show up. It's the potential of all humans to be manipulators. We all manipulate on certain levels.
One thing that you said just now that brought me back, and I'm trying not to be like 2 hours in.
No, you good.
But a word that stuck out that made me remember that conversation even more was boundaries.
Ooh.
And for me, again, cause okay, I'll give y'all a little bit of my background. I take pride. I'm a giver, right? I take pride in loving hard, and the little bit of hate that I did have, I hate real hard. Like I despise. Like, wow, you're gonna die tomorrow. That I had that level of hate, but I think even having those extreme opposing feelings came from me not having those boundaries set in place for myself and the people connected to me, whether it's family, friends,
Right.
A&R, manager, artist. Like, it's just when you feel like you give, then you don't get back. That's the low for me.
But that's also because you have it, because there's a part of you that probably is a result of a wounded sense of self that has learned to access your sense of your self-worth through being a giver, right? For whatever the experience is, like, you know, maybe you didn't get what you wanted as a child, so then you like don't want other people to feel that way, right? And so it's all noble, it's all good, right? It's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that fine line that I just now helped you to see. It's that fine line in between, like, are we coming from a place of trauma and trying to, again, like, create an external environment that makes me feel comfortable, because that's all about you, honestly. Like, even sometimes people who consider themselves givers are really selfish people, because what they're trying to do is create an external environment that doesn't make them feel uncomfortable, right? But, well, let me not say selfish, but the motives can be self-centered, yeah. And so when you said that, that's the first thing that I thought of. And then, like, also too, it goes back to the original point, which is that so when you said the hate thing, it was like, well, there's probably more of you that hates than you would want to admit, right? Because there's something like we're not supposed to hate,
right?
But the intensity of the energy when it comes out and you allow it to show up, it's probably also a result of the idea that you don't let it out when it needs to come out in other settings, where you may need to cut off your energy to somebody, or really be abjectly like, I'm over this, I'm done with this,
right? Because
I want to be the giver and I want to be the good guy and I want to I want to more perform that part of my personality than really like saying, you know what, I don't like this, I'm done with this, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You helped me get there.
Yeah.
Look. I done blocked, since that conversation, I blocked so many people.
I'm good on you.
Like, bro,
I'm good on you.
Nah. Cause, okay, and without saying names, but I've had managers, not Chris. Chris, what up?
Just to be clear.
Me and Chris made some plays.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. But I've had some managers that I will try to play both sides and be cool, be cool. I see right in my face, oh no, you think ain't shit. Like, right. You're here to,
Right.
You're here for that.
Right.
And I'd be like, all right, but Shamia, and this was years ago, before our conversation, Shamia was like, you need to cut that nigga off, like, he's doing too much. Like, why are you even entertaining this person that's gonna probably rape you?
Were you trying to get your needs met, though? Were you just like, kind of maybe trying to do a little bit of relationship maintenance because you're like, well, maybe this shit will hit something. Like, maybe there will be something that, or like, was it just about you? Like, what was it about? Why would you do that? Because there's some benefit to the behavior.
Okay. Initially, I know how this business can be.
Okay.
Right? And I know that this week, the A&R or the mailroom person is the mailroom person, but 6 months to a year from now, they could be senior vice president.
Right.
And I've always made sure I treat people right, but I've normally disregarded the zero fucks given, I've normally disregarded it and be like, yeah, you know, man, he cool, man, yeah, we good. Let's, instead of just saying, okay, that's what that's gonna be, done. I don't need to deal with that. My energy, I'm better than that, so let's do this. That's where I am now. Right.
So the benefit will be possibly, if I mistreat this person, then they could be the A&R tomorrow.
Right.
And then I will be, you know, if I mistreated them as the male person.
Right.
Then So, but that's the crux right there, is that always looking at the benefits that we get, right? Mm-hmm. That all behavior is benefit motivated, all of it, right? Okay. So sometimes when people, and I've learned this about other ways that people perform, like the good boy or the good girl, or I am a great person, right? Usually when people are leading with that, they have a wounded sense of self, right? And it's okay, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell something, right? And or they're focusing on a part of them that could be true, but usually when you really like start to have a relationship with them, and let's say that you have an experience of them that that doesn't align with the mask that they've created, they can't sit with that, because you're only supposed to know this about me, or you're only supposed to have a relationship with what I give you, right? And so when you just now said that about the A&R piece, or the male that I, like, my mind like zeroed, like that's the benefit,
right?
It's like, if I treat you good, then I can make you cash off. I make you cash out on that, or what I do for you later on, which doesn't make you a bad person.
Right.
It doesn't make you selfish. It just really helps you to, like, know that you're good because you're Mike. Like, you're good because you're a piece of source energy, right? But that you're not, like your goodness isn't, well, here's what I want to say. It really helps us to get out of romanticizing how we show up in the world. That's what I want to say. That's in a very concise way, because a lot of us can romanticize the way we show up in the world and ignore any message that comes that comes back to us, that echoes that you're problematic as hell, right?
It's them. It's not me. It's them.
It's like, no, you're problematic. Like, and it's okay. Like, because again, you know, a lot of us have been taught, we've been trained very, very hard that you cannot be problematic and receive love. So as children, we get these messages that you cannot fuck up and get my love. Yeah. So as adults, we still have those neural pathways that are ingrained in our psyche, that I can't be wrong because it's going to make me more abandonable. Because if I'm not always, and I'm speaking from my own experience, right? If I'm not always like on or in control or right or got the right answer, then that'll make them like see that I ain't shit, or see that I ain't got it all together, and then that'll make me more easily abandonable, because like my worth is in like being able to solve problems or be right or whatever, right?
Right.
Which has strangled multiple relationships in my life. Strangled them. Do you hear me?
Okay. It's saying that. I promise we gotta wrap it up.
Okay.
But it's saying that just being right part. Okay. How do? Because I feel like you're right a lot, right?
Okay.
I feel like you're right a lot.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm right a lot too.
Absolutely.
Right. So what happens? How do you dial that back, or do you just let it go when you say, today, don't drink that water because it's hot. It got plastic in it, and you know you're gonna get cancer, whatever.
Right.
And then a year later, man, I got cancer.
Right.
That's one situation. Then I say, you know, bro, don't put your finger in that water right there, because your foot is standing right by that electrical wire.
Right.
You're gonna get electrocuted. Put your finger in the wire.
You get electrocuted.
Right. And you being right constantly reoccurs. How do you not get? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
How do you not get into a complex of just being right? Because I hate it. Again, I'm gonna let you talk.
Wait, no, I'm listening.
But I hate it when I've given either an artist, a business person, Shamia, even the girls, like with kids, give them. This is what will happen if you do this.
Right.
Don't do it. I'm telling you, if you do this, you're probably better off if you do this and you don't do it.
Right.
How do you not build a complex of I told you? Like I told you so.
Well, I mean, I think that one step of that is like really looking at what the meaning that you make of being right, or like, or also too, like again, because we're talking about the relationship that you have with yourself, is usually a reflection of the way that people treated you as a child. Did people not let you be wrong as a child, right? And so did they not? So like, did they like say, like, did they pick on you, or did they like deride you whenever you did something that they didn't say do? Did they not just give you space to make mistakes? And it's okay, you made a mistake. Did you learn? What did you learn? Like, have more like building conversations from you making mistakes than like, I told you so, wagging their finger at you, right?
Right.
And a lot of times people try to create that structure for children because they can't be with a child 24/7, so they have to put something in the mind that clicks on when they're not with the child that'll keep them from like severe danger, right? Mm-hmm. So I get why people train children that way, but it's very unproductive when we become adults. And it's like, well, so I don't know. I've never experienced being able to be wrong and make mistakes and it just totally be okay.
Right.
Like, you can just make a mistake and we can like have a conversation. We can build on it.
Right.
We can say like, what did you learn? Like, what would you do differently if you would do that? Like, really
That's
loving,
good.
conversation versus like, I told you so. Did I tell your ass not to do that? Right? So then as adults, we have that relationship with ourselves, so that that bleeds out into our environments, to where we do that with our children, we do that with our partners, we do that with our friends, and we want to be right, because being right like also shields us from the trigger of like that child that we remember being picked on, or like being made to feel wrong because we were, I guess, wrong, right? Or being made to feel like that we're not worthy of love.
Gotcha.
That's the connection. And so if you could get into like really dissecting the meaning that you make of being right, and your own relationship that you have with being right, but via the people who were entrusted to take care of you, then you can get into a space of like knowing that like being right is not always the most important part of an experience, right? And I'm gonna give you one example and I'm gonna shut up.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, I had an experience with a friend, and I won't get into all the details because if he hears this, he won't talk about them. But basically, we got to a point where we were at a I guess you could say like a stall, like we were at a standstill. Like, he felt like he was right, I felt like I was right, and I apologized, because although I didn't feel like I was wrong, I felt like that my love for him and my relationship with him was more important than me being right in that moment. But I still was very aware of the fact that I wanted to be right? So I'm not saying that, like, I think that we all want to be right because there is a psychological payoff to being right. Okay. Right? Even if it's like really tied to our sense of self-worth, or if it's just like, well, it can also be about image management, what I'm saying? Like, again, in front of other people, I'm right. So then that makes me more trustable, which makes me less abandonable. Like, so it really gets deep down into the psyche as to why we can clutch so hard to being right. On top of, again, just the childhood experiences that we had with, like, were we able to make mistakes? And, like, did we even, like, see an example of, like, just being able to be wrong? Like, or, like, were our parents really quick to say, you know what, I was wrong? No. Right. So then we don't know how to do that. Because, exactly. So there you go. Like, problem solved, ladies and gentlemen. Wrap it up. It's been a great night. There you go. You've never seen it. So, yeah. And because your parents were in control of you as a child, you may associate being right with control. I'm in control. I'm the one, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's all of this stuff that the psyche does that, as adults, healing really means like really teasing out that stuff and really getting into the intricacies, which is the work that I help people do. Yep. I don't want to plug. No, go ahead. Which is the work Which is the work that I help people do, is I help people to create awarenesses around the psychological structures that have been set up for them based on like certain experiences, and how does it manifest in their lives today. And does it either help them to really get their deepest desires and their deepest needs met, or does it stand in the way of them actually living the life that they truly desire to live, right? So you're trying to not be dominated, but you're in your quest to not be dominated, you're strangling love relationships. Like, you're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable, right? Which is my story. I'm speaking from experience. And so that's the work that I do, Rahim K. Sean. I'm a life coach. And I am doing can I talk about what I'm doing?
Go ahead.
So
Because we good.
Okay, so I'm doing a witness wellness program in July. If you all like what you hear, if you think that I can be of service to you to really get to some root issues and live your most delicious and highest vibrational life, or just help you to just create some awareness around some things that are really stopping you from being as happy or as present in life as you would like to be, then hit me up on social media, Rahim K. Sean. Oh, but the witness wellness will be about helping people to create an awareness around the psychological resistances to self-care. Like, why is it so hard for us to take care of ourselves or engage in self-care routines with consistency? Like, why do we start stuff and stop stuff? Why does it seem that we self-sabotage whenever, like, like we're trying to do something and it may be about to break and then we self-sabotage, right? Like, they're just like what we talked about, that child being trained that, like, you can't be wrong, you can't make mistakes, right? So there are also other, messages that we've received around our gifting. We talked about being an artist, around what does it mean to be famous? What does it mean to be seen? Is it dangerous? We've seen, multiple people be killed that have skin like us for saying certain things and existing in certain ways in this earth. And so our psyche takes all of that information in and it creates a structure that is the psyche's job is to keep us safe. So it will do whatever it needs to do to keep us safe, right? And so if you really want to, but the issue with the psyche is that it's extreme. It always goes to death, like the possibility of death, right? And some things are about the possibility of death, but some things really are just like, I'll be embarrassed, right? I won't die if you learn that I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna say thinking about but I may be embarrassed, but I'm not gonna die. But the psyche will create such a dramatic response to it, like I'm gonna die, because that's what it's literally set up, is to save us from death, like, period, right? And so the Witness Wellness in July is $50. With that $50, you get 4 I Am Safe meditations, morning meditations, and you get 2 group coachings where you get to get coached for 2 hours by me.
He's being modest too. He's being modest.
Yes. Well, I mean, coaching is normally $45 an hour.
No, it's $1,200. It's $1,200.
It's not that much, Saints. I want the healing to be accessible to the nations.
Okay. In that, and this is because he is a friend of mine, right? And I know the value that coaching and that level of self-awareness and healing does.
Right.
It's not just for, and again, I'm trying not to go long, but it's not just is healing and getting to know yourself, right? It's not just that. When you get into that space, physically, mentally, emotionally, in your psyche, all of that stuff, it puts you into a different space wherein you're aware of what's next and how to deal with people and how to build those new relationships. I wish I could tell you about how many different bags that I've seen just from doing right. Just from not turning that part of me off.
And what if I would ask you this? What if doing right by yourself means that you lose a bag?
I've been there.
You've been there, but you're just talking about like the experience that you see, like when you were nice to people and
and not even nice necessarily, just open and available.
Okay, I got you.
Cause a lot of bruh, you could have text me back or call me or something. So, but the level of communication that I operate on now, just from being aware that that's something that I do, has just opened so many other doors.
Right.
Just from being aware.
Right.
So,
right.
when he saved $50, and if y'all scratch y'all nose at the 50, look, you gonna be mad at that 1,200.
You're gonna be mad at the 1,200 now. That's a word.
I'm just saying, because I mean, it really does have that level of value with knowing.
I appreciate
You know what I mean? So, yeah, no.
I honor that. Like, I think that, the awareness is, like, really the key. And I think that all this is an offshoot of, like, how we were taught to treat ourselves. Right? I really do. So that's why I keep going back to, like, the relationship with yourself bleeds out into the relationships that you have with other people, right? So, and like you said, we have a tendency to make it about everybody else and about just the relationship. But it's usually like really a relationship with ourselves. Like if we were taught to abandon ourselves, then we'll stay in a relationship that's unhealthy for longer than we should because that's how we grew up. Like we have the medicine, so to speak, to deal with that, right? Although it doesn't feel good, it's like we've at least done this before, and I know how to do
I'm
this.
used to it.
I'm used to this, yeah. So as we're doing this work, even in the witness wellness, it's really going to be about helping people to really create an awareness around how they treat themselves. Like, what do you actually really, really, like, think about yourself? How do you treat yourself?
Yeah.
And that bleeds out into it's almost like seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And all these things will be added unto you. Hey! Yeah! Oh, Lord! That was good.
But yeah. And you see, and we've been trying to cut. I promise, we've been trying. I know everybody like, yo, I love this episode. It's so good. So if y'all want more,
yes,
please reach out.
Yes.
To
Rahim Keshan. That's everywhere. Rahim Keshan. Rahim Keshan.
And then the link to sign up for
the Witness Wellness
will be in the bottom.
Yeah, it'll just be a registration link. Yeah.
So, y'all, I promise you, don't miss out, because you see this man, like, is that the male Iana man? Yep, it is. And guess what? He's not fixing your life.
No.
I'm going to make sure he texts you.
Only you can fix your life. I guess that's really my belief. Only you can fix your life, but I can create a container in which you can actually do that.
I like it. I love it.
But only you can fix your life.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right. But I guess I get what you're saying, though. Like, yeah, I'm not coming to do that.
But it's been real.
Yes.
I love it. Sir,
yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate you.
Till next time, holla.